War. War never changes.
Welcome to War Never Changes, episode number 23. I'm one of your hosts, Jim. And over there, the man, where are you at now, by the way? Where are we at? Hotel Unknown.
I I am in a hotel in Corning, New York.
He is in Corning, New York. You may know him as 50 caliber Phil McCracken. How is Corning, New York? Is it fun out there?
It's quiet and this hotel is beautiful. And literally, if I stepped outside the hotel, turned left, and walked 10 feet, and there's the Corning Museum of Glass.
Whoa. So, you guys watching now, you have a special job. Go find Phil tonight.
Go find Phil. Go find Phil.
I am really excited because here in Orlando, beautiful Orlando, I woke up today to 65-degree weather, and it was one of the most beautiful morning walks I've ever had in my life. It is currently 80 something, but for a brief moment, we had normal ish weather, and it was awesome.
Sick.
Sick as a dog. We have a lot to talk about today, dude. I am really, really excited. First and foremost, I spent a total of about 7 minutes working on a new special template just for you, which we'll get to at the very end of the show. We're gonna be calling it Phil's Farewell. So in the past, when we've done send-offs, typically what happens is I just dump my camera feed, so there's just this blue box. Now, all eyes will be on you. I built you a special custom template, which I just totally shit through together. I'm not even going to lie. And it's just going to be you. So I'm really excited. The pressure is on you, sir, to think your hardest for the finale of the show. But we have a ways to go because there's a few things we all need to talk about. And I think the best place to start off is to say that I am going to create War Never Changes podcast history with you. Are you ready to make history, sir?
Fuck yeah.
The history is for the second consecutive week, I am not going to shit on Xbox. Because I mean, I was looking back at old shows, looking at show notes and topics, and I do go back and watch some of them from time to time because it's fun and I do enjoy them. And I've watched our production value slowly increase. There's some hiccups, granted, like today when it took me like 19 Skype calls to figure out how to get my microphone working and the OBS overlay and everything, but I do like to go back and watch, and I've noticed a theme on this show is I really apparently hate Xbox, and I've got to say the last few weeks they've really done right by me, and I'm really, really excited for this next generation in a way that I didn't think I would be before.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. I'm glad to hear it. I might not make that streak. We'll see.
Well, so I wanted to start off with some of the news that's been coming out, particularly revolving around these demo units that have been given to various media outlets, particularly the Xbox Series X. And apparently, we're not cool enough yet, keyword. But all these shows, yeah, what the fuck, right? All these shows have been getting these demo Xboxes. They're doing nice 360 views of them. It very clearly says prototype on the back. And there's very clear guidelines on what they can and can't say and what they can and can't show. But what I have seen so far is a handful of games that they are highlighting to show off, amongst other things, better loading times and significantly increased graphical performance. So the one that really caught my eye, and I'm looking through this list, and this is readily available, just Google Xbox performance times. And the one that really caught my eye looking through this list was actually Sea of Thieves. And that's a game that I love. And I play it on PC almost exclusively. When you played Sea of Thieves with me a while ago, how did you think that game performed?
Um, I mean, it's a pretty simple game. I thought it performed pretty well.
So, did you feel like the loading times were really bad? Did you notice any kind of frame rate hiccuping? I know the HDR looks really pretty. I think that's one. It's one of the most beautiful games in terms of lighting, day and night cycle for sure. Did you feel like the performance was pretty good on the console though? Like, were you like, hey, this isn't a bad looking game?
Yeah, on my One X, it looked okay. The only problems I had were at night. It got really fucking hard to see at night.
Yeah, and I think that might be by design too, because they really want you to use your lantern. Well, you're full of shit because. Just kidding. Show's over, folks. The loading time on that game sucks. And maybe you didn't notice it because we were just laughing and giggling and having fun and being the two teenage girls that we are. The loading time on the Xbox One X clocks in at 1 minute and 21 seconds, which honestly isn't horrible, but the problem is it's long, and you do get into a lot of hiccuping on that game where your frame rate will hitch. You'll see a lot of screen tearing, and it just isn't a beautiful 60 frame a second, wonderful masterpiece game that it honestly should be. I mean, I love it so much. I have it mounted, 4 photos on my wall behind me from the really cool Xbox event years ago. So Series X, according to this handy dandy quick guide that I'm looking at, will load the game in a mere 20 seconds. Went from 1 minute 21 to 20 seconds. That's from a cold boot. Turn on your console, press Sea of Thieves. 20 seconds later, you're in the game. That is awesome. Awesome. I think there's a couple other ones in here that really kind of blew my mind. And not all of them are optimized. Outer Worlds went from 27 seconds to 6 seconds, which is more like what my M.2 computer runs now, extremely rapidly fast. Destiny was cut by over a minute. And even Assassin's Creed Odyssey was under 30 seconds. So, in seeing all of these benchmarks starting to release in terms of here's what it looked like on the Xbox One X, here's what it looks like on the Xbox Series X, I am noticing a significant graphical increase. And this is just off of sheer horsepower. This isn't the developers going back and changing any code or anything. This is just throwing more hardware at the problem.
Yeah.
That gets me, like, that honestly makes me want to buy an Xbox One X so bad now because there's a lot of games that really didn't run very well. What?
You already own 2 of those.
Oh, no, Series X. Did I say One X? The naming convention sucks. And I'm still incredibly frustrated. What?
Oh, streak broken.
Streak broken!
I had to make one comment. Streak broken.
It was 8 minutes and 11 seconds. The streak ends. I hate the naming convention, and that's going to be something I struggle with for a really long time. I'll probably just devolve into saying Xbox once we stop doing these stupid comparisons. But yeah, this really makes me want to get the Series X because there's a lot of games on there that run way better. Sekiro doubles frame rate at 60 frames a second. The loading times on these games are ridiculous. I am thinking this is going to be a lot cooler than people had initially thought. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to buy one. I'm just waiting until the first special edition comes out, and I hope it's not like a year or something like that. I hope it's within the next few months. They say something because I'm excited to get one. I really want one. It's like I went from like not even considering it to like I have to have one.
You know, and I think really Microsoft hasn't done, maybe they're hoping the press will do this by, you know, letting everybody get out in the world and kind of do these tests on their own. But I mean, Microsoft hasn't done a phenomenal job of advertising this on their own. And I feel like they don't have a lot of games to show this year. Halo's been delayed. Everything else seems to be MIA at this point. This is like a selling point. This is really a selling point that they have really overlooked. I'm sorry, what did you say?
The streak was never going to work out.
The streak. Well, I could be, okay, I'll be predominantly pro Xbox. I mean, like more plus to minus, like we're like here. And as the show goes on, the negativity may overtake. But Yeah, I mean, all kidding aside, I think this is a really big deal. I'm really, really excited for some of these older games, but I guess where my conflict still comes from is, am I buying a console to play yesterday's games, or am I buying it to, for the future? And I don't see the future being that bright for these guys.
Why?
Because they're what what have they really released in the last 5 years that's an Xbox exclusive that's made you really want it? A game you can only get on Xbox. I mean, Sea of Thieves, yes. I just said that one. That's one I'm particularly impressed and excited for. But like, what Xbox exclusive games or partnerships does Xbox have with, like, I'll give an example. Like, PlayStation gave away exclusive Batman DLC. PlayStation gave away exclusive Destiny DLC. PlayStation gave away and still gives away exclusive Call of Duty Modern Warfare DLC. What if it's not that? What makes you have to have an Xbox? Is it really to play these old games? Is that what's really getting you're making the weirdest faces right now?
Because I'm so confused. It's like I know that you haven't, but it almost seems like you forgot that they just spent $8 billion to buy Bethesda, and you're like, the future doesn't look that bright for them. I'm just like,
Oh,
are
well,
you an
yeah,
idiot?
Bethesda aside, and I'm going to focus on them in a minute. You're telling me, okay, are you saying that if everything else doesn't pan out, you feel that this console is worth it solely for Bethesda titles?
Yeah.
And I honestly, maybe because I rely more on a PC gaming stance and a lot of these I'm going to get on PC, I don't really know if I feel that way. I definitely am excited for it, and I'm curious to see what kind of partnerships they have. And I'd love to see like the Master Chief with like the Doom Slayer and all these crazy crossovers and Easter eggs we talked about. I just don't know outside of them if there's really any. If right now all they have is these exclusives that have come out that have really failed. I don't see a new console changing the DNA of how those studios work.
I'm in a different situation than a lot of people. So I hope that this doesn't sound like too dickish, but $500 isn't that big of a deal to me personally.
Dick.
And between Halo eventually coming out,
Yep.
and whatever happens with Bethesda, I'm okay with buying the console. It's not going to be my primary console. My primary console will be PlayStation 5 because that's the console that you and I are going to buy all our console games are so we can play them together. That's like our yeah, it's like
That's
our
the pact.
pact.
That's right.
That's our pact or whatever. So that's the agreement we have because I don't want to hear any more Call of Duty nonsense from you. You've literally berated me into making this pact. But I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to do it. Um, so I mean, it's not that big a deal for me. We just got done to saying how excited we were for these consoles, and now you're like, you're shut up, Jim.
I am excited, and I mean honestly, I guess that's where I'm constantly torn and kind of fighting against myself is because on the one hand, yes, I'm incredibly pumped and incredibly excited for all of these graphical improvements on these old games. I just think if I'm sitting down, I'm going to be playing the new PlayStation 5 games. I'm going to want to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla instead of Black Flag. I don't think I'm going to want to go back to the well anymore when there's all this new stuff coming out. That's what worries me, I think, more than anything.
I'm gonna play Black Flag again, 100%.
It might look a lot better because Xbox is including that built-in HDR, that like overlay. So they're gonna basically add HDR elements to it. I assume the frame rate's gonna get overhauled through like that's probably gonna be a 60 frame a second game now. It might even upres somehow to 4K or at least 2K. It'll probably look pretty good. The first game I ever platinumed. Well, second game. That was the second game I ever platinumed.
It was a beautiful game when it first came out.
Yeah, it was
So
awesome.
whatever happens is just gravy, to be totally honest with
I mean,
you.
it had nothing to do with Assassins or the Creed, but it was a great pirate game.
Dude, I'm just out there in the jacked up, fucking up Spanish
Did you
galleons.
play the
That's
DLC?
me. The Freedom
Yeah.
Cry?
with
Yeah.
Adewale. I'm probably saying that.
Yes.
I think that
No, I'm saying it
he
right.
was good. That was a really good DLC. I like that was actually one of the first DLCs I ever bought, and I actually enjoyed. Because a lot of times I get DLC and I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah, that was probably the last really super solid Assassin's Creed game, in my opinion.
I tend to agree. So yeah, and I just did plunk down a whopping 200 on the collector edition. Finally restocked those from the Ubisoft store. So it's got the statue, which is all I really care about, and a bunch of other crap for Valhalla on PlayStation 5.
Which Evor did you get?
It's the female one where she's on the front of the boat. There's two variants. There's a male one, and I think he's just standing there. And there's a female one where it's like the front of, I don't know what the name of that Norse looking boat is, but it's just the front end of that, and she's standing up on it like, yo.
Just a Viking ship.
Okay, I don't know if it had like a fancy name, but yeah, I don't know. I guess that's where I constantly get torn. Is I mean, I look at these performance numbers. I'm reading. I'm seeing how fast, how spunky the OS is. I'm seeing that it loads faster. I'm seeing you're able to do this quick select thing. We're able to jump between games very rapidly, and that all gets me super excited. And then I'm like, yeah, but these are games that are like, I mean, am I really going to go back and play Assassin's Creed Odyssey because it loads in half the time and it looks a little better? Or am I going to play Valhalla?
You're gonna do both. You're gonna get bored eventually, dude. Like you're gonna play through Valhalla, and then like maybe a year, 6 months, or a year later, you're gonna be like, you know what? I want to go back and play Black Flag. That's what happens to me. I get bored and I go back and I play old games. Like I go back and I play the greatest Bethesda, ZeniMax, whatever game that's ever come out, which is Fallout New
Fallout
Vegas.
76, yeah.
Fallout,
Oh, sorry. I thought we were flicking each other off at the same time. Sorry, bro. Yeah, I felt we were doing this, and then, like, what the hell, bro? You make me look like an asshole.
you are an asshole.
That's the thing, though. Like, okay, so I guess, okay, I think I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Yes, there is going to be a huge backward compatibility backlog of games. You are going to be able to dip into the well if you want to. I think it's an important feature. I think what equally worries me as much is being a Super Sony guy, Super Sony pony that I am, Captain Sony. I'll tell you what, Sony is not doing a good job at all on this. Microsoft released these units 2 months in advance. They're letting press talk about them freely. They're giving them games to play. They're opening up questions, dialogue. Here's our controller. Here's our console. Here's the experience. What do you think? Placed in, and here's a list of our backlog games. We're going to add more, etc. Sony, on the other hand, not a damn word. Not a thing. No demo units, no list of back compatible titles. Their big claim to fame right now is charging you for Spider-Man, which should be free if we're following the Xbox model. It's a little worrisome.
Yeah. Well, the white guy did say that, that their focus is on the next generation. It's not necessarily a huge focus on the last generation. I think they said, what are they? Am I confusing them with Xbox? Didn't Sony say that 99% of the PS4 games you'd be able to play?
They did say 99% of the games would be able to play, but they have not yet indicated if there's any sort of upres or performance enhancement at all, or if it's just an emulator baked into the PS4. PS5 has a PS4 emulator, so it's the same game just on the new hardware.
Let's not compare one to the other. The Sony machine is going to be good at what it's good at. And you know what? Differences in among consoles is what makes each company different and good. Microsoft has a ton of resources and they can build a super powerful console. They've historically always had the most powerful console that I can remember. Anytime there's a generation upgrade or at launch, their console is always more powerful and it can do more things because it's more powerful. But then, you know, PlayStations never fucking break. They play games beautifully, except for the PS4 Pro. Usually run pretty silently. So I
Yeah,
mean,
the airplane.
they're different machines, and I don't need them to both do the exact same thing. If they both did the exact same thing, I'd only buy one.
No, that's a good point. I mean, I do agree that you would probably be buying each console for a slightly different reason, um,
Mhm.
and I do agree with that. I guess where my hesitation comes really is I love Bethesda so much, and they do make good games. I just don't know in the long run. Yes, I believe any Bethesda game could potentially be a system seller, but just because we've entered into the next generation of hardware, State of Decay is still a piece of shit. It's still a bad game. Um, you know, and I could go down the list of Xbox exclusive games. Blink is still a piece of shit. Killer Instinct is not a fun fighting game. And we could just go down the list and look at these. There's not a lot of change there. I don't see a lot of movement on the fact that, oh, we have new hardware. So, like, your pool of talent, it's still the same guy. He's coding to something new, or she, but it's still like, it's still not the caliber like that Sony is. And in a couple of years from now, what are you giving me a heart? You just gave me a
What the
heart.
fuck? What the fuck was that?
You hearted me on Skype. So the stream isn't picking it up. So the recording that I have, I'm using the NDI overlay. No one's seeing that but me. It's not going to be recorded. But Phil just figured out that you can react to Skype. So he's having fun with hearts and frowny faces and I don't know what else. So he might be slightly distracted for a while, but that's okay. Um, yeah, I just don't know in the long term, in 3 to 5 years from now, when the appeal of some of these games are so old, you just don't care anymore. Just the same way you don't go back and play the original Xbox One games, you don't go back and play Xbox 360 games. I wonder in a couple of years from now how much this feature is going to really matter.
I mean, we're still gonna continue to get games. Um,
Oh yeah, you're going to get new. I'm not saying like the
you know, I,
development stops. I mean, yes, they're still going to
I
make
guess you're right.
games, of course.
I guess you're right, but I mean the option will always be there if you ever wanted to, I guess, and it's baked into a really nice console that looks decent, and it's gonna, we see all these horsepower upgrades that they're making to last generation's game, and I can't wait to see what they're gonna do for the games that are gonna come out that are built to optimize that power.
So one of the things I do agree. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think I'm more pessimistic at times, but I want to take the leap of faith. I think I'm in the same boat with you. When a good limited edition console comes out, I will jump on it. I'm hoping it's Halo. I'm hoping Halo is the entry point, and it's a good looking one, not like that piece of shit they tried to sell us for Halo 5 Guardians. That console, two major thumbs down. I want a good, sexy looking limited edition console. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll get a like Skyrim remastered and it'll have the dragon on it or something. I don't know.
Take my money.
Take my money. Do you?
I'd pay $700 for that.
Wow. Well, if this is the kind of message we need to get to Major Nelson so they send us free shit because we're willing to throw so much extra at stuff that nobody wants. We will buy it right now for $1,000. But sir, they're only MSRP $499. You're not listening to me.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
That's right. All right, so moving on a little bit, but staying in the framework of Xbox still for now. Bethesda, a lot of discussions coming out in the last week or so, really nitpicking what Todd Howard and Phil Spencer and your boy Pete Hines, your best friend Pete. How is Pete? Is he doing good, by the way?
I watched that. I watched that interview, and I kind of don't hate him as much anymore. He didn't come off as an arrogant piece of shit in that interview at all. I was like, you know what? He's an asshole, and he handled the Fallout 76 thing like an asshole. But he didn't seem so much like an asshole. He seemed like a personable guy, and he seems passionate. So I think I'm going to take it easy on him.
Wow, this is a groundbreaking episode. Episode 23, Phil's sometimes a dick. It was Phil's a dick, and now it's Phil's sometimes a dick.
Me?
Yeah, you.
What did I do?
I don't know. Earlier on, you said something. You go, I know I'm a dick sometimes. I don't remember what you said, but you said I could go back and find it. You said earlier on the show that you're like, well, sometimes I'm a dick.
Whatever. We're fine. Just keep going.
Yeah. So watching that interview, listening, and really Reddit, really, and just NeoGAF, really nitpicking the words they used, and I feel like people are really selectively focusing words here. Phil Spencer has said numerous times, we will absolutely bring all Bethesda games to Game Pass. We will absolutely bring them to console, Xbox console, and PC. And then we'll do a case-by-case study of future titles to see. And I know we've gotten into this discussion a couple times, but I am now 100% fully convinced you will never see another Bethesda game on PlayStation after their exclusives run out with Deathloop and subsequently Ghostwire Tokyo.
Can you expand on that? Can you share why?
Sure. I believe that the reason why, and you did the math last week, as the great mathematician you are, and we figured out that, I don't remember what the math
60
was.
months.
Yep, I was going to say,
60.
Thank you. You read my mind. This is essentially a loan that they're going to pay back if you want to think of their Game Pass revenue or whatever. You know what, you look real quick. I know you're sitting in a recliner, but it kind of looks like you're sitting in like a wooden chair, and it looks like you're a little kid in a booster chair. Hey guys. Anyways, squirrel. I think that they would not have spent this amount of money to turn around and just reap in the rewards by giving it to PlayStation. I think they're going to funnel you through Game Pass, and I think they're going to say, you know what, we spent a lot of money on this, and all that crap I told you about us playing fair, that's out the window. We are now throwing down our money, and we own Bethesda, and Bethesda's coming to Xbox. In the same vein, we're not leaving Halo or Gears of War, and we're not saying, oh, they're for gamers everywhere, we're going to put them on PlayStation. Nope, they're part of our family, they're staying with us. I believe that's the plan. They're probably going to get a lot of flack on it, and they probably don't care.
Why would they care?
Exactly.
They've never cared about anything anyone's had to say.
Exactly.
Xbox, I can't remember a single time Xbox has ever deviated from what they wanted to do. And you know what? They sold consoles and they sold games, and they still have two of the most, you just mentioned them, they still have two of the most beloved first-party franchises of all time. And they've skated by with those and like a decent racing game that's like good to play tag.
Yeah. No, you're right. And that's the thing. I mean, it's, you know, for years, everyone had speculated Microsoft's done. Obviously, when I say that, I mean the Xbox division. The actual Microsoft company is worth a lot of money, and they make a lot of money, especially going with all their services now, like Office 365 and all the Word and all the stuff that they do outside of gaming. But it really, you know, their gaming, I really think, kind of skated by, even though they were a dominant console when the 360 launched. I think their gaming really did skate by this last generation, and I don't really think that either they weren't putting a lot of money into it with the thoughts of eventually doing something crazy like this, or Phil Spencer's a really good kind of negotiator, and he's like, look guys, you pretty much screwed us for the Xbox One, don't make that mistake again, give me some money to go make a move. But I don't see them turning around and saying, okay, you know, we're going to skim a little off the top from PlayStation. I think they want to get back in the business of burying PlayStation, and I like that. I think that's the right move to make.
Yeah, Microsoft isn't in the business of losing money. So whatever they do will be in the interest of making themselves the most money possible. You have to understand, you know, and I know you understand that, but our viewers should also remember that, you know, Xbox, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Sony and Microsoft are both publicly traded companies.
Yes.
And Microsoft has responsibilities not only to us, to not only to their shareholders, but they have a responsibility to pretty much every single wing, branch, facet of the United States military and the United States federal government. Because if you've ever been in a United States owned building, there are Microsoft computers fucking everywhere. And if they take a loss and their manufacturing takes a loss and they can't supply those contracts, it's not a good situation. So they're not going to do anything to jeopardize themselves.
Absolutely.
I totally agree with you that they're going to use this to make as much money as possible. Um, eh, I don't know. I can't say anything other that we've talked about it ad nauseum. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
It's a shock to me that the narrative can change in just a few short weeks. You know,
Yeah. When you inject $8 billion into the conversation, it can change pretty quickly. And you know what? You said short of something ridiculous like world shattering happening that you're not even going to consider getting this Series X, and like 2 days later the world shattering thing
you're
happened.
right. No,
So
you're right. I mean, they knew they
I'm
knew
so
I love
surprised.
Bethesda. They knew it. They're like, this guy really loves Bethesda. We got to get him back. This Viper Magic character, he's clearly, an up and comer. He's been doing
Yeah,
YouTube for 9 years. He's got like 60 subs. Like, well, look out.
we're going to spend $8 billion to get this idiot's five
Yeah,
hundred
that's right.
dollars.
That's right. We're gonna count it real slow. Um, okay, so I am. I guess I'll leave the Xbox discussion for now and saying that I feel like they're in a lot better place a month now from like a month ago removed. I feel like they're doing the right things. I hope they play dirty because it's going to drive more competition, and I'm really excited for that.
Yeah,
Really
but
excited for that.
like, who's PlayStation going to buy?
That's the question. Who is PlayStation going to buy? I mean, who's left that they would pick up? Like,
Ubisoft.
see, Ubisoft is a weird one because Ubisoft has always been very Ubisoft has always been very like pro Sony for a long time, and then when Assassin's Creed Unity came out, they were really pro Xbox for a long, long time, and it seemed like Xbox was getting all the not the demos, but like it ran better on Xbox. They were bundled with Xbox, and now they kind of just seem to be in between. They don't really seem to have an allegiance to either, but with all the crap that Ubisoft has been going through the last couple months, with all these allegations coming out and them firing people and all this sexual, weird workplace environment stuff, their stock has definitely had to drop. And I don't just mean like actual stock. I mean just their opinion. Like, they're not as hot of a company as they were a year ago. So they might be a potential buy. I just don't know if Sony has that kind of money laying around. I don't think they do.
Well, Sony could always partner up with someone else. If you want to, in this
True.
sort of arena, if you want to get the money together, you can get the money together. But to your point, Ubisoft is not who they used, who even a year ago, they're not that company anymore, and
No.
deservedly so because it's fucking 2019 and they're a multi-billion-dollar company, and they should know better. They should just know better. So I think it actually kind of makes sense for Sony to come in and like absorb them because if there's anyone that can get that shit straightened out, it's the Japanese. I don't mean to. I hope that didn't sound racist. It was a compliment.
No, it's no.
They're
I know
very
exactly what you're
structured.
talking about, and that structure is something that, as I finished up that book, Console Wars, it talks a lot about the structure of a Japan-run company versus an American-run company, particularly with Sega in this case, and how Nintendo, even though they weren't the premier console for a long time, it was their structure and their base, like core understanding of business practices that eventually drove Sega out of business.
Yeah, and I just feel like you can't trust a scumbag Frenchman to run your company, especially when he's been exposed as a scumbag
Damn Frenchman.
Frenchman.
Okay, so moving on a little bit, some other news that came up relatively recently. Maybe you care about this, maybe you don't. But since you are one of the lucky ones to own a Cyberpunk 2077 exclusive Xbox One X console, you may find this interesting to know that where are we going? There it is. Damn, look at that thing. Sexy beast. Um, there's been a lot of talk that that studio isn't as squeaky clean as we had thought. Not in terms of like any of these weird sexual allegations, but that they've been forcing their workers to work mandatory 6 hour. I'm sorry, 6 hour, 6 days a week mandatory. They are getting paid for it, but there is a major crunch in that studio now, and a lot of people are very upset because up until now, CD Projekt Red, who made Witcher 3 and all the other Witchers actually, but the beloved Witcher 3, a lot of people are divided by this because this is one of the few times that the good guy actually kind of got caught in a negative situation. My question for you is one, do you care about crunch? And two, does this change your opinion of either CD Projekt Red or of Cyberpunk 2077?
No, I don't care about Crush. Crunch. You know what? That's like a Finnish company, right? They're from Finland or something like that.
Polish, yeah.
Yeah, well, guess what? Those countries, those like Nordic countries, they all take an entire month off during the summer. Like the country shuts down for the month of August, and they get a paid month off in addition to their whatever PTO that they get throughout the rest of the year. So I'm pretty sure that CD Projekt Red is in the same area that has a common practice like that. So um, I don't feel super duper bad for them for that reason. But even independent of that, if that ends up not being true upon further research, um, I get forced to work 6 or 7 days a week all the time. So I don't, everyone, it happens to everyone. American manufacturing, um, it's just, you're getting paid. Shut up. I'm sorry. I don't
I
feel bad for you.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion because I'm definitely not a political person. I've never been into politics. But something I've observed is over the years, media's influence on politics. And depending on what channel you watch and depending on where you get your news from, them putting their own kind of spin on it to lean, more conservative or more liberal. And I've noticed it now as I've gotten older in the video game world, and it's I'm not used to this arena. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. It's definitely the sub narrative here is not. It is the game, but it's really this call by most journalists who are very liberal. Most of the journalists are in the West Coast, which is a very liberal area, really wanting to call for mass unionization of workers and workers' rights. And whether you're for that or against it, it doesn't matter. But they're using these news stories to really spin that narrative that, look, if you were in a union, this wouldn't happen to you because the union would protect you. And it's interesting to see kind of the political arena slam into video games, but it's definitely not going away. This is definitely a topic, crunch, and this narrative that journalism is kind of starting to overlay on top of news coverage. It's getting to the point where it's kind of hard to trust anything. Really, it is for me at least. And this is coming from a guy, like I said, not political at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Can confirm. He's not political at all. Um,
At all.
but we better, I'm not going to make a political statement. I'm just going to make a statement that's based in reality and fact. I hope that game studios do not unionize because that would drive the price point of a video game up from 59.99 to probably 89.99 or 99.99.
Yeah, I agree. There's going to be, I definitely would see a major increase in cost for sure. And we've seen that with American car manufacturing. We know that to be true.
Yeah.
Um, I guess for me, the whole crunch thing, regardless of the political piece of it, I guess as long as people are getting paid, I don't mind as much. I know it's particular with COVID. It's kind of hard right now to probably go out on the market and find something new. I mean, part of me says be grateful you're working, and part of me says you deserve better. But I guess it comes down to the age old thing that we've talked about before, and I've been branded as an ultimate hypocrite. Of, well, if you don't like it, don't support it. Don't give them your money. If you're not happy with it, if you don't like the practices they're doing, don't buy the game. Miss out. If it's that important to you, speak with your wallet.
Yeah, if you're not comfortable working 6 days a week, maybe maybe stop going to work there. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know, man. I've
I mean,
been in shitty situations with my employers too, and it's like, okay, well, find a
yeah.
new job, and that's what I've done.
Yeah, it's hard. It's difficult because, you only hear parts of the story. And unfortunately, with so much bias really in the news and the reporters now, you don't know how much they're spinning the story to make it, sound a lot worse than it is. Maybe it was an optional thing. We just don't know. We really don't
Yeah.
know. We're
Tony worked 2 hours on a Saturday, and all of a sudden it's a
slave
systematic
labor.
problem.
That's right. um, Other big news this week. I guess Mario. We didn't really talk much about. Well, we did talk about Mario last week. The Mario 35 is continuing to expand. They announced a bunch of new stuff today, particularly with that Mario 35 game, that Super Smash, not Super Smash Brothers, the original Super Mario Brothers game's coming out tomorrow. They've recently announced a new partnership with Cold Stone Creamery. They're finally starting to ramp up like Mario 35. Does this get you? Are you excited? Like, do you think this is a segue into like a potential new Switch, or do you think this is just a quick cash grab because they don't have anything else going on?
I mean, I saw the Animal Crossing Switch that went on sale yesterday. I wasn't particularly excited about that, but if they came out with a new Switch, that'd be cool. But my Switch that I have is fine. I don't need to do anything with it. I just
No, I don't. I don't mean like a limited edition. I mean like, is this to get your attention ready for like Switch 2.0? Is what I mean. Like, are we going to see new hardware soon, or is this totally independent? Every time these game companies do these big events, it's typically for a reason. Obviously, it's to sell product, but it's hard to not go anywhere now and not see Mario because he's in your face at ice cream stores. He's in your face at Target. He's in your face at Walmart. Like, he's everywhere. Like, to me, if they're going to make an announcement, it's going to be soon.
Yeah, yeah, I could get on board with that, and that would be exciting. I wouldn't go out and buy it, but because I just spent $1,000, I'm going to spend $1,000 between the PlayStation and the Xbox, plus the games and the headsets
Baller.
and all that stuff. So
Make it rain, baby.
I'm not going to rush out to buy a new Nintendo, considering my current generation Switch works just fine. But that would be pretty exciting. I could get hype about that.
Hype. A segment we haven't had in a while that I'm bringing back. What you playing? What are you playing? What are you doing right now?
I am playing a combination of Super Mario 3D All Stars. Um, I have been playing Red Dead Redemption 2 online
Whoa.
with you,
Oh, that's right.
and I have been playing Just Cause 3 and Just Cause 4.
So you've made the jump. We'll start with Just Cause first. You made the jump from 3 to 4. You weren't a big fan of 4. Did you beat the story of 3?
I did beat the story of 3.
But now you're going back just to complete it just because it's more fun to you than 4 was.
It's way more fun, so much more fun. But as I'm learning more about 4, it's starting to get a little bit more fun. I am enjoying it. I'm spending more time with it. So, um,
Okay.
uh, it's not as good as Fallout or
Fallout 76, right.
stop. It's not as good as Just Cause 3, but I'm starting to like it more and more. So that's what I'm playing. What are you playing?
Oh, wait, hold on, real quick. I want Red Dead. Let's talk about Red Dead first. What made you want to get back into that piece of shit Red Dead Redemption 2?
You and I, you and I
And
play Forza,
oh, sorry.
and we don't ever do any races, and whenever we do, it's
We
fast.
don't. You're right. We don't do. We are the weirdest Forza players. We don't race. We just drive around and like tag each other and just play tag and Forza. And we do the drag strip. That's really all we do.
And we have a fucking ball with it.
We do. We do.
So it's just like I thought, you know what? The game's intended purpose, I guess, is one thing, but when you have a friend that you can like just be a goofball with, you don't have to be serious all the time. You can just do whatever you want. So you know what? I thought, you know what? Let's go hunting. So I said to you one night, let's get on Red Dead and let's just go hunting. Let's check out the new like The Naturalist quest line, which we can't access because you
We
need an
can't
absurd amount
even
of
do
gold
it.
bars. But we can go hunting, and we've been going around in different areas of the maps and hunting all the different fauna that are inhabiting
Yes.
that part of the map, and we've been having a great time. You've been murdering strangers on the trail, which is a huge departure because it's usually me murdering strangers on the trail.
Yes.
But anyone that says anything even remotely rude to you is getting murdered, and I get to help you cover up the murder because I kill the witnesses.
That's how it works. I feel like with Red Dead 2 in particular, the reality is it's fun when you play it like GTA in the sense that you're just doing weird stuff. I feel like that's when it's the most fun. We spent probably close to an hour hanging out in Saint Denis, riding around looking for an open-faced wagon because we were so convinced we could put multiple animal carcasses in the back of the wagon. And we finally found one. I think the horse got shot. Then we spent another half hour finding another one. We killed the alligator and we couldn't load it in there. And then we're like, well, oh well. But it was so much fun because it was like we weren't doing a dopey mission. We weren't fighting the bandits. We were just being like cowboys, like, or dorky cow. I don't know if that's what cowboys do, but like, I feel like that's really the appeal of a Rockstar game more than any mission, more than any quest, more than anything. It's just like make it your own game. We've given you such an elaborate simulation. Play with it, make it your own. Forget the stories, forget everything. Just do what you want to do. And I feel like in those moments, that's when Rockstar really is one of my favorite studios because they allow me to do that.
Yeah. We haven't played together in like a week either, so we need to get back on there.
Yes, I will definitely be on later tonight after the finale of Love Island.
What time's that?
Who's 9 to 10?
Uh, I might be asleep. We'll see.
Eh. Well, the good news for you is Love Island is over tonight. So
Thank
after
God.
this, dude, it's a good show,
Where
man. I
where
mean,
where is this on? What platform is this on?
it's on CBS.
Oh, okay.
It's with CBS All Access. Rachel and I watch it. It's on every night, and we've been really invested. And tonight, it's over, man. Love Island ends. I don't know, but I'll be around more. Yes. To answer your question, what have I been playing? Two big things come to mind. Number one,
My
Elder
dick.
Scrolls. Jesus. No. You're so stupid.
Ah!
You're so stupid. Everything about you is stupid. And I press this button and you're gone. Look, there he goes. Oh, he's back. Okay. I've been playing Elder Scrolls Online. I know it didn't grab you the way it grabbed me. I have been doing. There's a big event this week where you can do crafting objectives every day to earn tickets to buy cosmetic items and vanity pets and such. So I've been playing that every day. I just hit 200 hours in that game. Can you believe that? That's how much Elder Scrolls Online I've played. And I bought it right after QuakeCon 25. So like a month. Pretty nuts. The other big game I've been playing a lot of recently, because I just bought it, is Spelunky 2, which I love. And I think I've asked you before to try a roguelike game with me, and you didn't. I think I sent you a trailer of one, and I guess you didn't care, which is fine. It's not for everyone, but this is one of the most refined roguelike games like ever. Seriously, it's so good. It's getting 10 out of 10 scores on Metacritic, and I cannot stop playing it. It's addicting as hell. If I get 5 minutes, I'm playing Spelunky. I run in here on the computer and I play a quick round.
That's
And
awesome.
I got the old girl right here ready to go. Ready to go. Ready to love Spelunky, play a little bit, go back to work, quick lunch break, whatever. I'm on this thing.
Yeah, I think we need to take a moment and have a moment of silence to memorialize the fallen brother that we lost this week. Just your Xbox Elite controller.
Oh, I got good news. I got good news for you. I shook the shit out of it and it works again. So I texted Phil. I was playing my controller, and I've done many standalone videos on this, and don't take my word for it. This Elite controller is one of the most amazingly shittily built pieces of technology ever. I have logged, I mean, alone on this controller, just on Halo 5 Guardians, I've played close to 3,000 hours just on this controller. The fact that it actually, the buttons still work is revolutionary. The problem is the analog is starting to drift and it's starting to fall off. Like the actual like thumbstick is falling off. And I was having this issue in Elder Scrolls where I couldn't strafe anymore. So I texted Phil, I ran upstairs, I grabbed this controller, which is my Forza controller, and it worked just fine. And then I was like, well, it just doesn't feel the same. I miss the rubberized grip on the back, blah, blah, blah. So I took my Elite controller. I was so agitated and I was like, why won't you work? And I'm shaking it and I'm like, let me try it again, and it works again. So for now, the old girl's still kicking. I don't know how long.
You just patted it and it's broken again.
Probably is. I think that's it for me, man. I think we hit most of the big stuff. Before we get into the special Phil's farewell segment, before we get into our send-off, is there anything else? You feeling good? You happy about this week? Is there anything we need to hit on, or did we hit the major topics?
I think we hit on it pretty good, man.
All right. So for everyone out watching, thank you guys for putting up with us yet another week. We really enjoy doing this. I am now going to turn it over to the ultimate exit, the ultimate finale, Phil and his farewell. Phil, sir, please.
Much like Jim never changes and never stops being a dick. War never changes. How am I an idiot? Fuck you. I'm not an idiot. You're gonna set me up like that and you don't think I'm gonna insult you?